In the past week or two, remote work has gone from a nice to have to an absolute necessity, something we all need to be doing to protect our neighbors. At Cloudflare, we build a tool that makes it easier to work remotely. And we've made it free for the time being to make it possible for all of these organizations that maybe used VPNs or other systems or systems that maybe won't scale to all of their employees suddenly needing to work remotely, or maybe they don't have ways for contractors or temporary employees who need to work as well in this time to use systems remotely, to try to make it possible for all of these people to continue doing their jobs even if they're not able to come into work. The product I'm going to talk about today is called Cloudflare Access, and it solves that problem. It makes it possible for you to access your internal applications remotely, and for your CEO to do it, and your contractors to do it, anyone inside your organization without a VPN and all of the difficulty and scalability problems that come with that. So I'm going to do a quick demo of how Access works, and hopefully you'll see how valuable it can be for you. And remember, we're not charging for it. You can use it in your business for 1 person, 10 people, for 10,000 people. Please do. And it's not going to be something that we're trying to make money off of during this crisis. So please do use it if it's going to be valuable to your business. So here I have the Cloudflare dashboard. In order to use Access, you need Cloudflare Setup on a domain. It could be the domain you use for your website, or it could be a new one that you're going to register today just to put some internal applications online. And I'm going to go to the Access tab. And inside here, I have this login methods area. And login methods are all the different ways that my users authenticate. It's pretty common for big organizations to use something like Active Directory or Okta. We use G Suite because we all have our Google Apps for Business, our internal Gmail that we all log into. And so we use that to log into our internal applications too. It's really convenient. Some people have a lot of contractors and they like to use Facebook and LinkedIn. If you don't have any identity provider, you have no place that you register user accounts for your business, that's also okay. We have this thing called the one-time PIN, where we just send an email to any email address you want, and if they get that email, they get the PIN and they can log in. So you can use Access even if you don't have any kind of identity provider. Right now I have Google Auth set up and I have that one-time PIN set up. So when we go to log in, we're going to see both of these options. I'm going to delete the Access policy that I had before so that I can show you how I create it. And I'm going to name it docs site because that's what my little deployed site here is. And then I'm going to put it on a specific path. So that means I'm writing a policy that's only going to apply when someone tries to visit HTTP docs, this docs deployment that I've done onto my website. You can narrow these policies down to specific subdomains and specific paths. So unlike VPN, where you're just letting someone into your network, this is giving these people specific access to this exact internal application. And I can say, I want to write a policy that's like, let's say just me. And I'm going to allow anyone with the email, my email. And feel free to send me an email. Why not? And so now only I can access this. This is obviously only a very primitive policy. I could put a bunch of emails in here. I could also do all the emails that end in the same suffix. So all the @cloudflare.com emails. We do that really commonly when we want to deploy an internal site or a demo or a designed mock. And that just says anyone at Cloudflare is going to be able to view this, but I don't want anyone else to see it. Makes it so easy to do that kind of development work. I could also make a group. And if I have a group in my identity provider, it'll be imported here. So I might have all of my designers or all of my developers, all my contractors, all the salespeople in the northern region, any kind of group that I want to make. And I'm just deciding, do they or do they not get access to this thing? And then I hit save. And now the machinery of Cloudflare kicks into motion and these configuration changes get deployed all around the world. This access policy is being applied at all of the Cloudflare data centers in 200 different cities around the world before the traffic ever makes it to my origin. So instead of having all of this managed internally, it's deployed all around the world. And so now when it comes time for me to view my lovely docs deployment, this is the Cloudflare docs that I've deployed here. Instead of being able to view it, I'm going to get this authentication page. And this is totally customizable, which is really cool. I can go up here and I can upload my own logo and change the colors and everything. And it gives the authentication methods that I've enabled. So in this case, the login code capability, where anyone with an email can get access, and the Google Auth that I set up. And I'm going to click that Google Auth, and you're going to see both of my email addresses. And I'm going to pick Zach@cloudflare.com. Please don't sign me up for anything. And now, unless it's good. If it's really good, you can't. And now we see that I am able to access this. So for me as a user, my life is incredibly simple. So if I'm maybe a mobile user and I'm on the go and it's time for me to pop open the docs, I don't have to log into a VPN anymore. Even though this is hosted internally inside my network or in the cloud, I get a login page and I tap Google Auth and I tap that I want to use my Cloudflare email, and now I can read the docs remotely from anywhere. So we've made all of the internal applications work just like a SaaS product might work. Super powerful. The next thing that I want to talk about is the app launch page, because it makes life a lot easier when people can actually find the applications that you deploy, and when people can discover them. And so we have this launch page that will show all of the different things that you've set up with Access and let people search and let people navigate right to them. And they just log into this the exact same way that they would log in to any of the applications protected by Access. So just to reiterate, Cloudflare is sitting in front of my applications, my internal applications, and it's the first stop for anyone on the internet who wants to access them. And if Cloudflare decides that this person is in my policies, they get to access my internal applications, and if they're not in the policy, they don't. A question that we get really commonly, though, is how do I actually make that connection between my internal servers and this Cloudflare data center edge that's all around the world in a way that securely connects us? Because you're not a firewall appliance, you're not loading something into my data center. How do I actually make that connection? And the answer is the last thing I'm going to show you. It's called Argo Tunnel, and I love it. Argo Tunnel lets you make a secure connection from your server, wherever it is in the cloud or on-prem, to Cloudflare's edge. And then all of your traffic flows over those tunnels. That's really powerful because it means you don't have to open your server's firewall. You don't have to expose it to the internet. You just have to run our Cloudflare D daemon on that server. And anywhere that you run that daemon, you're going to be able to put access policies in front of and then make available to anyone who you want to have access to it over the regular internet without needing a VPN. So to show that to you, I'm going to make the world's simplest website, and then I'm going to add it to this site really, really quickly with an access policy. Shouldn't take more than 3 minutes. I'm going to make an index.html file. Obviously, you're going to have a real application, but I do not. So I'm just going to make it say hello. And I can increase this font size for you. Then I'm going to do what generations of developers have done before me, and I'm going to fire up simple HTTP server, which is a way of making a HTTP server that serves whatever's in the current directory. So I'm serving it on port 8000. I see my hello page show up, and I've made a website. That's awesome. Now I want to make this website available on the internet to only my employees, just like it was an internal application. And so to do that, I'm going to start an Argo Tunnel. I'm going to go into a new tab. And I'm going to say Cloudflare D, URL, localhost 8000, hostname, hello, dot, and then my domain. And now my tunnel is being created, and we're going to see my local computer connect to 2 of local Cloudflare points of presence, in this case Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago, and create outbound tunnels to these Cloudflare POPs. And all of my traffic is going to flow securely and encrypted over these tunnels. And this computer is behind a NAT, meaning it has no ability for anyone to connect to it from the public internet, but my website will be served. Now, obviously, before I deploy it, I don't want my website to be public. This is a secure internal application. So I'm going to make a new access policy that only allows people who work at Cloudflare to access my new amazing site. And I don't think that's how I spell Cloudflareans. Done. I can also add other rules that use other identity providers. So if your organization has a bunch of different identity providers from a bunch of different sub-organizations, or maybe, again, you have contractors and they're in a different place than employees, I could maybe use the one-time PIN to let Barack Obama in, while I use my Google authentication to allow Cloudflare users in. And it all works transparently. So I can save my policy. It's just Cloudflareans and Barack. So now that tunnels have propagated, I have authentication, and I can go ahead and try to visit the new site that I just deployed. And immediately I get an authentication prompt. And I have two choices here because, again, I've set up two different identity providers. If I only set up one, it would just potentially skip this page. And Barack could put his email in and get a code. Or anyone working at Cloudflare can click here, authenticate with their Cloudflare account, and I have access to the site. Now, of course, if I were to open an incognito window or log out, I wouldn't. That is the power of Cloudflare Access. It brings SaaS-type authentication to anyone who works within your organization, and it makes it much easier for people to work from home or work remotely or work on the road without you needing to maintain a VPN appliance. One thing that I didn't show you here, but is useful to know, is it also works for SSH and it works for RDP. So if those are two protocols that you use in your business, it's really possible that Access could help you secure those as well. Thank you for viewing. I hope you stay safe during this time. I hope we can help in some way.